Good evening once again. It's Wednesday evening, 9 p.m. And we are here, Hope and Action Network, Friend of a Wounded Heart. It is such a pleasure to be with you every Wednesday evening, to join with you, to listen to people's stories, to share information, and to recommend the Friend of a Wounded Heart to everyone. Before we begin this evening, I'm asking Cheryl Dikoto to say a word of prayer, please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good evening.
Heavenly Father, as we come once again before your throne, we, your children, come to learn from each other, to learn from you. Listen those who will be on the platform tonight. Help us to learn, help us to support each other, and help what it is being said and done would be to glorify you and you alone. For humble in your fear, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Cheryl. Would you believe that this is our 21st session? Yes, we have been here 21 times before, and I warmly welcome each and every one of you. There are some persons who have been with us through this journey. I am saying thank you. Thank you for sharing these evenings with us. For those who are here for the first time, welcome. We are glad to have you. And we are asking you to stay with us. Come again. Come again. We share some stories. We share some solutions. And we recommend Jesus as the friend of a wounded heart. My co-host, my very able co-host, Akisha, is here once again. And Akisha, I thank you for sticking it out with me. I thank you for the preparation of the flyers from week to week. When I send you the topic, in no time, I receive the flyer. So apart from being such a wonderful co-host, Akisha also works on the back end, ensuring that everything is ready. Akisha, thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for that. And thank you again for everyone that's joining with us. Welcome. And I do hope that we have a great session this afternoon. We are going to talk about something really interesting. So I am really excited to hear how the discussion is going to go this evening. At this time, I'm just going to dive right into the vision of Hope and Action Network. And our vision is a better society built on strong foundations through the empowerment of everyone. And I'll repeat that. A better society built on strong foundations through the empowerment of everyone. And I do hope that at the end of this session, as we usually do, that persons will feel empowered, that persons will feel that we are contributing to a better society. Now, so far, as Dr. Ward would have mentioned, we are on our 21st session, session of this Hope and Action Network program, A Friend of a Wounded Heart. I'm just going to do a quick recap of the previous sessions that we would have had so far. Remember, if you would have missed a session and you would like to view the session or you would like to see a recap of the session, feel free to join us on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel so that you can see those sessions. It's Hope and Action Network. So last week we looked at abandoned somebody's child. Prior to that, we looked at rejected, neglected, abused, and scorned, looking for love in all the wrong places, when marriage fails, I don't know how to love him or her, this is not love, be careful, love is in the air, hurts and crime, things hurt can drive us to do, workplace hurts, the me inside of me, matters of infidelity, when men hurt, part 1 and 2, and what is in your steaming pot. Now, today, like I said, we have a really interesting topic and an even more interesting guest among us that we are so excited to introduce to us, but I will pass you on to my co-host to do so.
Thank you, Akisha, and thank you for the recap. Some very interesting topics. Persons shared some very interesting stories. Persons shared their hurts openly, and we found some solutions. We presented some solutions. We have had guests coming in and speaking so far, and I think of Inspector Stanley, who facilitated 2 of the sessions for us and shared some very, very useful information for us, to us, and with us. I usually read my news on Facebook. I normally explore Facebook to see what is there. And one day, last week, I think it was, there was this young man, cute young man, handsome young man. And he said, "Hey, this is your boy Joshua." And I said, "All right, let me listen to what my boy Joshua has to say." And he was sharing some information, sharing some stories, and encouraging persons to turn away from the rugged life, the harsh life. And I see we have some young people, Joshua, some young people have joined us this evening, and we're so happy to have them. When Joshua Hercules says, "Reach them before we lose them," he knows what he is saying. He was suspended from school several times. He frequented the block. He smoked marijuana, and he knew how to make fast money. Many were the hurts he experienced, but he met the friend of a wounded heart. Now he has a passion for young people. Let's listen to his story this evening. Joshua, thank you for accepting my invitation. I reached out to him via Facebook Messenger and he responded. I told him who I was and what I was about, and he shared his number and he says, "Yes, we can talk." And when I asked him to join us this evening, he said yes. Joshua, I thank you. And I pass the mic to you now, the Zoom mic, so that you can share your stories with us. Thank you so much, Joshua.
Hi, good night, everyone. Everyone can hear me clearly, right?
Yes.
Just want to say thanks for the opportunity, Ms. June, and all protocols observed. Good night, everyone. I hope that we are a bit relaxed. You know, I just want to share a quick scripture with us before we finish. Before I dive in, right? This morning I was reading the Word of God in Psalm chapter 119, verse 15 and 16. And it says, "I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word." Amen. You know, and tonight, many of my stories and stuff, I could only base it on thanking God for his grace and his mercy that he extended unto me. You know, I am no old man. I am a very young person, but I lived my life as one who had a lot of experience. You know, I just want to start by saying I'm a son of Bishop Dag Heward Mills also, and I am an active member of the Shepherd House International Church, which our headquarters is in Diego Martin. And I have been sent to Point Fortin to start what we call a campus also. But I want to be honest, you know, I never saw myself doing this. The place that I was at in life, from the age of 13 years, I started having intercourse. You know, I actually did make that my goal. And this is personal stuff I'm sharing here. And it's all truth, no lies, no add-ins, no takeaway, you know. And I had purpose in my heart due to where I live, you know, listening to all these other guys and stuff speak and how well they would have coordinated these sinful acts and stuff that we would call sinful now, you know. As a young person growing up, you would think that, hey, this normal, because I mean to say it was a bit of peer pressure and then community influence. It got the better of me early, very, very early in life. I don't want to lie. It got the better of me very early, to the point where I was a bit really, really excited and couldn't wait to start doing some of the things I do. So like I shared, you know, I came from a humble background. My mom, she used to be in and out of the psychiatric ward. Well, many of you would know it as Ward 1. Psychiatric, you know, in and out. You all hear me clearly, right? Yeah, I just want to make sure of that. Yeah. So
We're hearing you.
in,
It's just a little soft, so if you could get a little more, if you could get a little closer to the mic, but I'm hearing you.
All right, to the mic. Okay, I just want to make sure everyone hearing. So should I start over? Or it's all well?
No, go ahead, Joshua. Go ahead. Just get a little closer to the mic and it would be fine with all
Right.
of us.
You hear me better now?
Yes, a little better, yes.
Right. So my mom would have been one of those patients in and out of the psychiatric ward at a very early age in her life. And I would be the son that grew up seeing that and didn't understand how to deal with it at the point in time. And at the point in time, for me, the streets was like a safe haven. You know, I know many persons nowadays, we could all disagree that the streets is not a place really and truly for young people, however it is. But I mean, a lot of us have to come to the reality that for many of the young persons who we are not able to influence, for them, they see it as their...
We're not hearing you now.
He's muted.
You're muted, Joshua.
Okay, just give me 1 minute. Let's change my location entirely.
Sure, no problem. No problem at all.
Yeah.
No problem.
Let's change my location.
While you're doing that, I want to remind persons to mute their mics. Mute your mics. It's a full room tonight. We already have 51 persons. We have some young persons in and young people. I just want to encourage you not to fall asleep on us because this is important. We're hearing real stories, real experiences. And Joshua started his experiences by going into the Word of God. On this platform, there are persons of different denominations. It's not tied to any one denomination. We are presenting Jesus as the friend of a wounded heart. We're presenting solutions to hurt. We're discussing our hurts openly. And so far, persons who have come to us have been very vulnerable. They bear themselves before us, and that is for a reason. These persons are coming from a place of healing or partial healing, and they're saying, we do not want you to get into those kinds of issues, or we want you to realize that there's a solution to the hurts that you're feeling. You do not have to burn somebody's house, or find a gun, or beat somebody, or even insult someone if you are hurt. We can deal with our hurts in positive manners, in positive ways. All right, Joshua, tell me if you're ready now. Special welcome to all the young persons who are logged on. Thank you for joining. Over to you, Joshua. Okay, unmute Joshua.
Nice. Nice. So better, right? You all hearing me clearer and everything?
Yeah.
Better?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Nice. So we could all be free because I don't want to waste the I don't want to waste the night. This is actually something I hardly ever do. I never really share some of these interactions with anyone at all. I just don't do it. Not religiously, but it's a kind of personal thing with me that I just hardly ever come out in the open and say, you know, this is where I've been and this is where I have not been. So I just want to say thanks to all the persons who are on, you know, thanks to all the persons who are on, and we are about to get right into it. I have set up myself better where I could speak a little more freely. And like I was saying, I just was giving you guys a history of where I came from, and I want to show you so that you may be able to identify probably similar traits in a young person close to you. You know, there are always signs that they could look out for, right? Yeah, there are always signs that could be associated with behaviors. And probably if it is we see the pattern that happened to me, we could also see that happen to others. So everyone knows St. Benedict's College here? You all ever heard of St. Benedict's College? So I had the golden opportunity of attending St. Benedict's College, to which I wasted the entire opportunity. At Form 3, I was asked to leave the school. It was a decision I totally didn't understand, but because I was acting out, I literally was acting out. The suspensions for me was more than 17 suspensions from Form 1 to Form 3, ranging from school fights, just as we are seeing now, where groups would gather and fight and pelt bottles and all these things. So I was one of those who would coordinate it. I would literally plan, okay, this is where we are going at this particular time. This is the school that we would be attending, and this is the place that we would meet and we would greet, and you know, all these sorts of trouble will happen. And I just want to start by saying, parents, if it is you are here, I believe that some type of honest and open conversation needs to happen. Open conversation is a breeding ground for success. Being brutally open to your kids. I know many parents just deal with the children as parents. It don't have a place, or it don't have a space that the children could actually just move the air and be open. And this was one of the most challenging situations for me, because it didn't have a place, it didn't have a comfort to say, I am suffering this. This is how I am feeling emotionally. I am feeling weak. So within me, I would bottle all that up and I would take it out on the very first person who decides to cross me. And this would have been leading me down what I would call the brain drain. Now, plenty of people would say the brain drain was where we had this peak point in society where all these students were coming out of UTT and UV and stuff, and they had no jobs. Now, my perception of the brain drain is something a little bit different. My perception of the brain drain is where we have all these young people who go into these prestigious schools, but no one seems to find out the reason why they are not making it out of these schools. And my reason was simple. Understand? I didn't have the space needed to vent. How many of you know venting is important? Now, this is an interactive session. I like speaking. So you can unmute your mic also, and I wanted to interact because you see, I don't want to just dive in. This is not a lecture. I am not the lecturer, but I am rather interacting. And for me to interact, I need to converse, you know? It's a conversation. So how many of you ever felt like you just needed to vent? Anyone here, you ever feel like you needed to vent?
Me.
Yeah. So that was my situation. I just wanted to vent, and I couldn't vent. So venting for me was lashing out. Venting for me was fighting. Venting for me was being disrespectful to teachers. And when I tell you disrespect, I'm not talking about ordinary disrespect. I would disrespect teachers to the highest level there was. And the suspensions that they would have given me, it didn't bother me one bit, because I saw no hope for myself. And you see the name of this, the title that's behind our two hosts tonight, Hope and Action. I saw no hope. And when I saw no hope, I knew there was no action plan to take me out from where I was to show me a better route. It didn't have any of that. So the situation was dark and very bleaky, you know. So all you would see and you would have is a short-sighted vision of where you could reach. Persons actively telling you that the speed you going, as soon as you come out of the school, you're dead. And the speed you going, and now, you know, and that is something that has break my heart. You know why I started doing these videos? Because when I look at social media, we see people only preaching doom and gloom to the youths. We see youths getting caught in all different acts and all different types of foolishness. And before someone could say that there is hope, there is a way out, there is a way things are done, you could be the next, you could, and try to build. We preach this doom and this gloom that this is it for you, and this is the box that you are in, and you can never come out of this box. But then I met a friend, and I know that this is not probably a religious platform, but I, in my later life, encountered Jesus after surviving many trials. Now, the last altercation I had in secondary school was with a guy and his mother. Yes, I fought the guy and I fought his mother also, because I was trying to change. And you know, when you're trying to go down the good road, provocation does come. And the guy was provoking and provoking and provoking and provoking and provoking and provoking. And then I finally had my last straw. And this is where I got what we would call an extended suspension. I stayed home for more than 3 months. So it was me, the guy, and his mother. We were all on the St. Benedict Schools compound, fighting it out. And then the Ministry of Education decided to call me into a meeting. And they were speaking to me, and they was like, Mr. Hercules, we have a proposition for you. I say, have a proposition for me? They say, why you don't join the MILAT program? I say, MILAT? I say, I work so hard to pass for the school. You telling me I have to join MILAT? And they say, Mr. Hercules, we've counted the suspensions, and now you're on an extended suspension, and this goes beyond the protocol that we serve for students, and it now means that you are expelled out of the school. My heart shut up. I say, Lord, you know, all the time you're doing the wrong thing, and it's so sweet. But you know, that minute that the wrong thing had to stop is when you just really realize the foolishness that I was doing. At that moment, I realized that my actions could have not been reversed. So I was just there, lost. For 3 months home, no school wanted to take me. My mother tried. She walked around. She walked to this principal. She went at least 7 different schools, and no school wanted to accept me. It was that bad. And then I just got more violent. I say, okay, no schools don't want to take me. The block will take me, not a problem. And then I have some friends that used to sell drugs. You know, but I was always a marijuana smoker in school. So I could have never gone to school without being high. So every single morning, I would attend school, and I have to smoke before I go to school. I have to enter the school compounds and be on a different level. And within those times that I was home, you know, all I did was stay home, and I got a bit more involved in the activities. Now, there are some things that fine protocol would not permit me to say. So there are depths that I cannot go based on we are having a recorded Zoom meeting. And these things are, you know, a bit sensitive. So I would like for you to read between the lines, but I would not say directly that this is or that is not, you know. And then I started getting into how to weigh out marijuana, how to put it on a scale, how to bag it, how to actually break it down, because it comes in a block. If you ever see it, comes in a block compressed together. So this is me fresh out of Form 3, you know, on an extended suspension, thinking all hell has broken loose. I have no more hope. And now I got into the trade. I learned how to break it down, how to weigh it out, and I would be there weighing it out, thinking, packing it in bags. Is it a small bag, different sizes, different amounts, either ounce, quarter, 25s, you know? And I started liking it. And faster than that, the money started turning over. School was not known for me at that point in time. The money started turning over. And at that time, you know, people, when you're in the jobs world, persons don't always come with money, material, like money, cash to buy jobs. Sometimes they would come with gold, jewelry. They would come with the chain, the ring. They'll come with all phones, devices. So I started liking it because at 15 and 16 years of age, I was able to obtain things that persons were working 30 and 45 years to obtain. My bank was growing. And it became, you see, and I wanted to really understand and really connect with what I'm saying. I wanted to understand, many a times we underestimate young persons in our society today. The reason why I took this opportunity today was so that we don't take for granted the depths that young persons are going. I don't want you to say, my grandchild is only 14 years old, so he ain't know nothing yet. Or my grandchild is 16 years, he does only line with them, he ain't know nothing. The reason why I keep going deeper, and if you watch where I started, I'm just giving you a breeze through as to how my life went. You see, one time you could look back and you see, okay, he came from a broken home, mother in St. Anne's, in and out St. Anne's, then thrown out of school, and after being out of school, entered into the job life. So you all seen the pattern, and it's the pattern that is the pattern our entire society is just a trend, and it's a road that has already been paved, and it's so easy to walk on that road. So the reason why I want to get back to saying this, remember I started by saying that parents need to have an open and a safe space to be able to talk to the children. You realize due to that space that I really desired not being there, it led to acting out in school. And the acting out in school, now no one would care about your child the way you care about your child. No one would care about your sibling the way you care about your sibling. So what happened was just a process of acting out. And then the acting out led to the place of what I will call sudden death. Because in the streets, it had no play. This is where I started seeing friends who I grew up with getting bullet down. You ever went and watched, anybody ever see what a dead body looks like? You ever see what a bullet this do to a dead person and the person was your friend? No one here. So I seen it firsthand. I have seen it firsthand, like young fellows who I would be there with, all we would be kicking it together, going inside 5 o'clock in the morning after being out whole day. This is why I started seeing that persons were now leaving my side and they were never coming back. They were never ever coming back. And I had no insight of the gospel. Nowhere at that point in time I knew Christ. Nowhere at that point in time I knew to call out to Jesus. So you know what happens? You know what started happening? Agony started kicking in. Revenge. We want to avenge the death of our friends. We want to be the ones. And then bit by bit, dreams started coming. Dreams. And I want to break the flow I have, and I want to bring it more real. And this is how you guys are going to hear this story before it drops on Facebook. I had a friend after, I was out of school and stuff for the time, right? And I had a friend. The Bible says, confess your faults one to another, and pray for one another so that you be built up, right? And it also says that we overcame by the word of our testimonies and by the blood of the Lamb, right? You guys know that, right? And we are testifying tonight. We are giving hope. I had a friend, and this friend, he sat on my step. Now, these are very emotional stuff, but I want every young person here to listen. He sat on my step. We were at least 15 years of age, and he said, 14, I believe, and he said, Joshua, they used to call me Short Boss. He said, Short Boss. I said, well, we were smoking. So I had your marijuana in my mouth, and it was about 4 of us, and I passing it to him, and he said, Short Boss, and I something to tell. He said, you know, I'm gonna end there at 17 years of age. Now, this story is an emotional one, right? So I had to take my time and process it, because it's not something easy to really share, and it's the first time I ever shared it. He said, Short Boss. I said, well, brother. He said, you know, I'm gonna die at 17 years of age. I say, boy, what madness you talking, boy? I say, boy, we gonna unlock the block, boy. Boy, we gonna run the place red. We gonna be selling red jobs, boy. We easy men in charge just now. What you mean you gonna end there? Then he knew Christ. I didn't really knew Christ at that time. He had a relationship with Christ. And he said, Joshua, he called by my name. He said, Joshua, I went to a Baptist prayers. And while he preached, I was praying. The Spirit come upon him and he called me to the front. And he said, you young man, if you continue that lifestyle you want to live, you're going to die at 17 years of age. And he came back and he said, Joshua, that thing feels so real. He said, brother, I really went on there at 17 years. I said, dog, you know how we just talk? We young people don't say sir and miss. We are slangs. And then I said, dog, you're not gonna end dead, boy. We telling you, bro, you can't dead, boy. I said, boy, look, we now getting the right links, look, we now getting the right connects, look, we now selling enough jobs, look, we gain through, boy. Just not 17 years eligible to get a license, we gonna buy a car, we gonna do it really. And all I don't keep saying, all I don't understand. All I don't understand that this life have consequences. And I said, I almost called him. I said, brother, we're talking about, boy. He used to like to play drums. He started beating the drum. He started beating the railing by me and making the drum sound. And he said, fellas, I want to understand something, that the life that we want to live have consequences. Now in the streets, many young persons are prepared. Their mind is fully made up to die. I don't want to lie. People, my mind was made up. It was either jail or death. I did not care because I saw it as an avenue, and the life that I wanted was in that avenue. I wanted brands, I wanted gold, I wanted girls, I wanted sex, I wanted weed, I wanted this. This is what I wanted. And I was ready. I didn't care if the police killed me. I didn't care if the gunmen killed me. I was ready to risk it all because I believe that you don't out of school, your mother done struggling, you ain't really have a way to fall back on, say, just have yourself. You have no hope. You have no action plan. And my action plan was, I am going to run the place red and take what I need to have by force. By number one, selling my drugs and keeping myself active and building a name in the streets for myself. That was my hardcore belief. And here I was at 14 or 15 years, and my friend is telling me that he don't mind doing it with me, but just know that he wouldn't be there to enjoy the 20s and 30s with me. And that stuck with me. It stuck with me. And I was talking to him and I said, boy, well, you think about what you want to do, but for me, I know what I want to do. And then me and him, we came and we fall out. You know, friends is fall out. We came and we fall out. So for almost 2 years or a year and a half, I didn't hear from him. And then I saw him on a video clip doing our work somewhere throughout the country, firing shots like crazy from our gun. Say, wow, he had a name, he built a name for himself. But when he got the revelation of the age he was going to die, he tried to change it. He did, but he wasn't able to hold them. And man, that boy picked up a speed and started doing some things. And one day, I believe I was on a job. Something, these odd jobs. So somewhere I was. And I got a phone call. And the phone call stated that the police now kill XYZ. The only thing I didn't do was mash up my phone. I say, where now, say? He say, yeah, the police now kill XYZ. I said, the police now kill who? He say, yeah, baby brother gone. Man, I said how much part I was, and I just started a breakdown. I was like, nah, boy. When I check back with age, now I was still involved in my thing to that extent. But when I check back with age, he was 17 years of age. They went on a mission and coming back, the police get a word of the car that was driving. At the same time, the police get the word of the car that was driving. That actually, the police was doing a random roadblock. And a call came through the radio that these 2 guys in a car, or 3 or 4 guys in a car, and they now do XYZ. And the police could have given him a blind. But prophecy is a serious thing. The policeman had an opportunity to spare his life. But because in the spirit, 4 years back, it was already confirmed, or 3 years back, it was already confirmed to happen. The policeman did his duty and confirmed the age that he would die as the age of 17. And I was just there sitting. I said, Lord Father. Lord Father. No, it's not an easy thing to go through, to live it in your mind. Because you know why? Just before or just after his death. Okay, just before his death, I believe I did not start dropping in church like once a month. Once a month. I did just accept Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. But I was still smoking, I was still selling drugs, I was still doing what I was doing, but I was really trying to change, you understand? And after his death was when I really started understanding the journey that Christ was trying to put me on. Because I never shared this dream with nobody. I had a dream where I was driving a car going to meet my friend that just died on a corner. And just before I could meet him, I made a sudden right turn into our next street. And he was standing there showing me bye-bye. And I knew what that dream meant. It was just God showing me that you was next in line. You was the next person waiting to go. And my friend showing me bye-bye in the dream was just confirmation that I took a different road by accepting Jesus Christ. And I was just there. And this is something, it's a thought that keeps coming back. That what is life? What is the value of life if you have no guidance? If you don't have somebody to be real with you, as plain as day, to let you know that, John, it's worth it. Jane, it's worth it.
You have to go in that.
What is the value? What is the value of life? Last 2 years, I lost another friend. And the funny thing about me losing this friend was this. Guys, I never share these things. But I mean to say, Miss Joan reaching out to me, it really, really touched my heart. To see the work that you guys doing, trying to encourage each other spiritually and build each other up. I lost a friend last 2 years during the pandemic. He was sitting on his couch playing game. and someone stood by his door, pointed a gun and shot him in his head. Now, I used to drive around selling markets out of my vehicle. And the week before this young man died, I went through his community and I parked my van. I have a maxi. And I parked my maxi on my market in it. And he come out and he said, Josh, let you reason. And him and I was reasoning. And he was saying, Josh, you know, I never grew up in this. No, he used to sell drugs too. But he was basically telling me that he liked our change and how I is a light and how I does inspire him. And he was like, Josh, you know, I never grew up in this. I grew up living with my mother. And it's only when I finished secondary school, I moved to live with my father. And coming to live with his father was one of the worst decisions he believed he made, because he got into activities he never thought he would have gotten into. And all along, I could just hear somebody crying for help. And he was there and he was saying that, but I want to change my life. I had to come out of this community. I had to go and live in a different community where you better have to do it different. I want to come out. And he just kept saying he wants to come out. 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 And in him saying he wants to come out, he wants to come out, he wants to come out. The next week right after, I woke up. Now, I don't know, I'm not too sure if the group ever had these kind of conversations with anyone, like any young person, because I know you all quite, and I hope in this time for you all to ask questions, you're really able to interact, because I love interaction. But you know, somebody ever talking to you and asking you for money, and you could feel the sincerity in the heart while asking you for it? You all ever help someone and you could see that the person just genuinely need your help? So you give them probably a hamper. You give this person a hamper and you say, you know for a fact, God going and bless you because you get up, because you know that person really and truly was in need. This is how I saw my friend the week before he died. This is how he was talking. You could just see a desperate want to change. He wanted to just come out of it. And I slept one night. I passed the night before, the same night I passed. And I saw them lying, and I popped my horn. I said, oh! And by the time I reach home and I take a sleep and I wake up the morning, I wake up to a WhatsApp story. I went and I was watching a WhatsApp story, and I saw someone putting the cry face. The cry face. I was like, what? And then I call, I say, hey, what happened down the road? They say, boy, brother, I'm now dead. I say, what? They say, yeah, boy, gunmen now kill him. And I sat home, and I cried. Cried like a baby. I cried. Because I had these near-death experiences before I had the opportunity to really change my life. There were places I went, and because of gang warfare, you know, you're in a gang and you can't really go some places in peace. And by the grace of God, I was able to still come out tight, and then coming out tight, you know, seeing people looking up there, and these same ones, they're trying to find a way to probably host some events in the community that might at least help them in some way, some form and fashion. Then to seeing them just dropping one by one like flies. No, one person might say, thank God for salvation, or thank God I'm alive, at least I'm alive. But for me, that doesn't always be the prayer of my heart. Sometimes the prayer of my heart, the thing what is really be in my heart is this could have been you. This could have really, 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 really been you. You know? And I always think of it from that point of view. It's never that, yeah, boy, you're alive, thank God, and you're so happy to be alive while all the people that used to lying around dying. You know why? Because I shared a close relationship with them. And I want to tell you guys something. In the streets, it have a type of loyalty you could never find it nowhere else. The streets have a type of love you could never find it nowhere else. You could only find it if you have a direct love and a direct relationship with Jesus Christ himself. That is the kind of love the streets have. No church, no mosque, no temple, no government institution have the type of love that the streets have. The streets have a type of love that you call loyalty. They is be the first at your side. They just love hard. They just love strong. You ever all I understand what is a cult? You know in a cult they don't have no way out. You know cult members love each other till death, right? When someone in a cult, they love each other. You could have the right, you could be a magician. You still can't change the member of a cult heart. Them love the people and they just go to war for the people. You all know that, right? So it's the same type of love it have in the streets. That is why so many young people coming from good families and leaving the good families they're coming from and finding themselves on the block. Because sometimes even within your own family, it don't have the type of love there is, like the type of love that the streets they show. Now the streets is a painful place. Is that right. So no, it's not oats. You see, in the streets, from my perspective, you don't really make oats. It don't have no oats. It hardly have oats. But you know what it have? It have persons who will listen and take you very serious. You might take something to your parent, and your parent has study you. You will take it to your brother has study you. They will tell you, I small thing, I providing for you, living here, I doing all I have to do for you, and you go get past that. But in the streets, you will get a young man to sit down and listen to you, and he will give you a solution to your problem. And that is what many young people run into right about now. That listening air. That listening air. You ever realize? You ever realize many young persons today shut off from talking to families? When last you ever see a family was able to really bring everyone together and trash out problems? Now young persons getting outside influences. You see those guys who did the Pennywise. I'm gonna get a little more real so that everyone will on. You see the guys that did the Pennywise shooting last year? Those were my friends. I'm gonna bring it home now. Those were my friends. Three of them were personally my friends. I was in class with one, and then the other two used to come home, I mean my community. They would come and they would leave where they live and come to check me. They would come, hey Josh, we this scene, we bring out hard smoke for you, boy. We bring out this fair, we bring out that fair. They were my friends. They were my friends. So what I am speaking about, and even in that mix, we saw one of the parents at the young man stating that, but my son, I have a Range Rover, I have a this, I have a that, and my son, I didn't expect why I didn't expect your son? Because they're listening. Yeah, so one of the parents said everything he needed, they provided. You see, but we could give, you could give, and it could give, and it could give, and it could give. But you see the air, that chance to really talk to someone. That is why they say in a relationship and in marriage, one of the most important things is communication. Because you could go and spoil someone in a relationship. You could give them $1 million, you could give them silver, you could give them gold. But if you don't know about iron and what trouble in the wounded heart, you ain't do nothing yet. Because they will take that money, they will take that gold, they will take every single blessing you have to get them, And in the marriage, you alone will be happy because you think you're giving and you're giving. And that time, the heart wounded and it's just not in the right place. And you was not discerning enough to go and try to mend or to stitch that wounded heart. And that is what we see happening in today's society. Many parents say, I gave him the best, I give she the best, I give he the best. But that one little scar in the heart, you never really get to the bottom of the problem. So therefore, somebody on the outside, now you provide every single thing for the person, and just that air didn't get them, the wrong company give them that air. And they see everything that you do for them as null and void, and now one thing somebody do for them as gold. And because they start bowing the air now to that person who gave them not listening air, they become easily influenced by those that are around. And instead of now taking your provision, they now want to get it on their own. Because it's like you're giving me, but you're not really understanding what I'm saying. You're not really listening to me. So I know you're providing, but I don't want your provision anymore. Better I go and get it with the people who want to understand me. And this is, and we see it so many times in the job field. We see it so many times that employers don't take the time to understand the employee and work along with the employee, and they only work with top management and they lose good employees. You all ever see that? So right now in we nation, it come like the job field. We're losing good youths because we only so regimented with I see mother, I see father, and if you can't live by my youth, better you get out. Instead of just saying, is Akina? Akina? Is Akina? You all mind if I just ask Akina to explain if you all don't mind?
Go ahead, Joshua. Yes, you can ask them.
Yeah, Akina,
Yes,
you wanna?
Yes, good night. Yes, the reason why I say it's a bit skewed, when I say skewed emotionally, because if you're getting everything home and the one thing you're saying that they may not get home, they're getting it outside. Why would I leave a comfort zone, if you understand what I mean? Why would I leave a comfort zone of getting everything home to go for the wrong thing on the outside, even if my parents not giving me the listening ear in terms of what I want to hear? If you understand what I'm saying, that's why I say skewed mindset. Meaning the one thing you want to hear, and most of the times it's the wrong thing. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Most of the time, because their parents will guide you in the right way, you know. So I understand what you're saying, and I understand, but probably as a young person, they may not want to hear what we have to say as parents, because to children and to youths, when parents talk, it always seems to them as they're just being old and miserable, or the thing that they're trying to say they don't understand because they're not young. But most of the times the parents just trying to guide you in the right way. And if you're not understanding that, about giving you everything and showing you love and still not accepting that, then there is something clearly wrong somewhere. Therefore, the child
I wanna
counseling. You understand?
So I wanna share with you something, right? You see, most of the parents that provide for the children don't sit to explain sacrifice to the children. Many parents just think of providing, and that is why I started off the conversation saying that we need to create a safe space for our young men to be able to break down for the parents. Many parents don't create a safe space for young men to be open. We are given this, men must be so strong, men mustn't cry, men must be macho. But if it is, we tend to just create a safe space in our households where our children could come and be as blatantly as possible and as weak as possible before the parents, then the fix could happen. Because one of the things that you see happen is influence. You see, based on where you are at in life would depend on the influence that you have. And yes, I totally agree. I totally agree with what you're saying. But what I am doing here, I am just giving different scenarios as to what we are seeing so that you may now be able to point out which one of these scenarios is affecting your community or your people or the persons that you actually guide. So I'm giving, like, I am actually sharing different mindsets. So I'm not just regimented to one mindset, but I'm sharing different thinkings that actually come into place that leads persons to the final decision. And if we be honest, most parents nowadays, they don't talk with the children. Parents even know on social media, just like the kids. Now, a parent goes to work, they work very hard whole day, and when they come home, I want to scroll. So we got talking a little bit. The parents now, they have series they're watching because parents know about Netflix, parents know about YouTube. So the parents themselves more interested in the phone than interested in the children. And all they're saying is, well, I just work, I just cook, I just clean. So all they're taken care of. So the parents nowadays is different to the parents that we have before. Before, Auntie Joan and they may have come together and sit at the table and say, son, I realize you're moving a little off today. Son, I realized this week you wasn't yourself. Something happened in school. And then now they would have said, Auntie, Miss Joan, this thing bothering me. And then they would have vented. But when we look and we see society, everybody on social media, your mother had no time to study, daddy working hard, mommy working, and everybody just want to own a little space of, I need to breathe. Then this is where the listening ear would come from. And it only takes one thing. Sometimes a young person don't even understand he going on the wrong road. Because all he needs to do is tell one person, you know who my need is, and I know my parents love me. But by these days, I ain't going to talk to my mother at all. That's all. It could just take something so small to blow out a proportion, because the one wrong is that here your plan could change your entire life. And sometimes, Akina, it's just this one. It just takes one person that you will talk something with that can either make your life or break your life. And many times we see in it now that young people want to fit in. Everybody wants to fit in. Everybody, old people listening the same music as young people. Old people party in the same places that let's see that. Check in the comments. So that I was saying, Akina. So most times now, plenty parents that really and truly don't have the time to talk to the kids, right? I believe the child will always want more, and sometimes trying to set boundaries and the child looks on. I just trying to read through the comments as we go, right?
Yes, I'm seeing an interesting one by Walters. And then
Yeah,
Janet placed another
Exactly.
interesting one in the chat.
Youths will not be honest if they know you're going to shout going to the others. Exact. So Walters hit the nail on the head first. So this is the comment. I didn't read Janet on it, but Walters hit the nail on the head there. Many parents, and you see, we could all agree that we see in it. So exactly, youths will not be honest if they know you're going to shout or going to the other sources with the information they share. We have to remember how we wanted to be treated as a teen. Exactly. Next point, many parents talk to children. Many parents talk to children. They do not talk with them. There is very little family time, no storytelling and games like drafts, Ludo, and Snake. Exactly. They talk to them and not with them. When you're talking to somebody, you is the only person talking. When you're talking with somebody, the person now able to share how they feel also. But where is this safe haven that we supposed to be created? Where is it? For me, I didn't have it. And it was no choice of my family. It was no choice of my mother's. Her situation was just complicated. My father was a very big drug dealer. He was a very big drug dealer. So the last thing on his mind was he coming to talk to his kids in any form or fashion about anything, because he always had something to do. And if I be honest, he used to wash cocaine. So he would have gotten it in the powder form, and his job was to turn it to the solid form. And then,
Where is he now, Joshua?
he passed away. He passed away. So I did not even get the opportunity to sit and the one good conversation I had with him was 3 weeks before he died. That was the first, I did not tell him, I started to smoke my little weed and then I'm having sex and thing. No, that was the only conversation I get to have with him. 3 weeks later, when I was now thinking, okay, at least somebody go in and give me it real and raw and explain to me what, because remember, I was fascinated. I was fascinated about the street life. I didn't care about no police. No. I was fascinated. All I know was I wanted that big chain around my neck, them rings on my hand, that money in my pocket, and I could kill things. I didn't like rum, and I like weed. So Hennessy. So I was fascinated. You're blinded. You're blinded by the lust of the world. It looked so appeasing to the eyes. That is all I wanted. Here I was trying to just talk to my dad. I let him not say, but I think. And now he started sharing with me how he got into it. And I realized I was heading a similar road. And then 3 weeks later, he was out the picture. So for me, even though he died in 2014, that was the peak of my life now starting. That was the peak point. I was fresh. Just coming out of the school that I told you guys about. I was fresh and wanting that conversation. And here I was, the only person that I thinking I could get a realness from. He was now taken away. You understand? So for me, I just like I believe it was my wife I was talking to recently. I said, babe, sometimes I miss my father, because it has some things I want to ask him that I can't really ask him anymore. It has some things that I just want to know. That's some things that I just want to, that's what I fatherly. It has some people that can take as their father, but nobody can really be your father. Even if it is he don't get 100% truthful answer, you still would have wanted to come from the person that you call your dad. Exactly. And Loretta, you said you hit the nail on the head. My mom always say, my mom was a praying soul. Always she used to be in her. She's still around today. She's not 200% like she overcame the mental by the grace of God, but now fluid in the lungs and things. She's always in and out of the hospital. So I have that dealing with at the moment also. But God is good. He will pull her through and he will pull her through well. But I just want to say that this is some of the things that young persons dealing with. So I don't want any of you to put any young person in a bracket and seal them off. If anything at all, choose one and pray for them. Because you might see them as young, you might see them as incompetent, you might see them as going astray, but please don't put with young people in a bracket. It have plenty more Joshua Hercules coming. It have plenty more of them willing to rise and come out of life. Just please don't give up on them. Don't give up on them. Don't give up on your son. Don't give up on your cousin. Don't give up. Don't give up. You be that beacon of hope for them, because young people, they don't have no hope. When we look at the structure, we look at the government, we look at the way crime is being dealt with, it don't have no hope. We look at every time the government bring a good legislation to the parliament that could probably assist in some way, we see the opposition shooting it down. We see the government fighting together, the hands and hold on to really address crime. The country becoming hopeless. And I really want all 74, 75 of us to at least Be that beacon of hope, because young persons, it really have an attack on we young men. And the Bible I just read says that the devil come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And anytime we start seeing the amount of robberies we see happening, the amount of killings we see happening, and the amount of destruction we see happening, we could tell that he is present and he's alive and he's working in the country. It's a clear sign that he's here. So the only easiest thing for you to do is to give up on a young person. Is like saying, devil, finish them. And before I close to take some questions, I know we said an hour and a half, I believe, and I realized that this group sticks to time. Last year, I went through one of my most challenging periods, being a young businessman. You know, it really tested me, and I almost backslide. I'm not gonna lie. And Ms. Joan, you're blessed. You're blessed to get these kind of truths. I almost backslide last year because two young men who far younger than me, who have no experience like how I have experience, who not militarized the way I am militarized, decide to come and rob my business place. And they shot one of my workers. My worker was 16 years of age. And they shot him. He was just looking for an extra dollar right by my market stall. He was looking for an extra dollar. And the two young men, ages 17 to 18 around there, 17 to 19 came. And they tried to rob my business. And they shot that young man in his stomach and changed his life forever. The only thing I didn't do, Miss Jo knows my pastor. My pastor name is Reverend Kwame Apente from Tobago. That is my pastor, and I am proud of him. He flew all the way from Tobago. In 1 day's time, the shooting happened the Tuesday. By the Wednesday morning, he was home by me. And he said, Joshua, don't go back. I was ready. I was ready to set the record straight. I was ready to do what it takes to make sure those two young men never see the light of day again. But it was a split-second decision in my mind. And even though I've been a Christian for the past 5 or 6 years coming, that level of disrespect almost sent me right back. Because you see, people see a change and think that they become an egg, that they could walk over here and you get soft. I was so pained. Now I am married, right? And I am young. And imagine your wife being by your business. Imagine these young men who don't have any sorts of training. Like me, I know me. I was a leader. I was never a follower. I had my own followers. I had people I used to instruct. And then these two young men came and they shot the worker and they hit the brother some gun butts. Two young men who I took from nothing, from not even knowing how to check money. I gave them a business to run and tell them, hey, fight. That days I would go and people would keep calling me, Joshua, you brave to put these two men by your stall, boy. By these men them getting people wrong, more change. And you know, I used to tell them, I said, don't worry. One day they will get better. One day they're gonna know. And these two young men, I saw them grow from not knowing the difference between a $1, $5, $20 when it comes to value, to being key calculators today. And then you came and you shot them. You shoot him and then you hit the next one. And it took me a while. One of my friends, I had a couple, you know, when you change your life is when you just get the most connections. People just start liking you. And that is the funny thing. You see, when you make that change in life, it's now all the drug lords just want to reach out to you. It's now everybody does now know to like you as soon as you change your life. And people was calling my phone nonstop because the talk was that I died. They say this small man who owned the market stall on the hill just get shot and he dead. And people was thinking I did. And my phone ring more than 100 times last year, May. I have never shared this story with anyone on Facebook or anything. People was calling, Joshua, you're alive? Answer the. People were sending messages, say it's not you, boy, say it's not you, then at least. When people realized it wasn't me, I had persons of prominent name callings in the country coming home by me. Joshua gave me the names of them 2 young fellas. I want to say thank God for my pastor, Reverend Kwame Apente. He came and he said, Joshua, don't do it. Don't give nobody name, please. Don't fight it. Don't fight that battle, son. Leave it. Don't fight it. Because in a split second, I could have made what needed to happen. And then people was calling me and saying, boy, we know who do it, or we tell you. And it's like a bitterness enter my heart that I could have never ever say for months. I didn't know who do it. And people close to me didn't know. Because every time they come to tell me, I wasn't strong enough to receive that piece of information because I would have do something stupid. I used to say, partner, or they don't tell me who do that now, boy. I don't want to know. Just leave it. Just leave it let it be. And I would sit and I would watch my wife frightened to go and open she business. Because I work in the hospital, so I couldn't be by the business. I would see my wife afraid. My wife would be afraid. She would say, Joshua, I ain't opening today, boy. What if them men them come back and they... That was a testing time. I was so eager to go and put some pain in them young fellas' family. I was ready to lose it, ready to say, all they cause pain in mine, let me cause some permanent pain in all their own then. And my mother would come and she would talk to me. She said, Joshua, now with it. Don't let no bad boy who call and you get you to say who do that. Don't do it. She said, take the names to the Lord and pray, and you pray on it, son. You pray on it. You talk to God and say, man, I fail, yeah, I have to feel it. She said, no, son, nobody don't have to feel it. You hold your head up high. You see how much friends you done lost? Now don't lose yourself. Don't go and retaliate. And then my pastor, Reverend Kwame Apente, he came and he make a scripture. It seems so real to me. He said, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. And anytime you go in God's hand and you take that vengeance out of God's hand, boy, oh boy, you'll be an enemy of God. And I sit and I say, Lord, if your word say that, and I come as a young man, and I go into your hand and I take vengeance from your hand, then I take something that belongs to you, and it's not your enemy. And by the grace of God, I could say my hands clean and never do what I was thinking to do. Only by the grace of God. I never one day shared with any person of violent background who did the shooting by Mustard. I kept it to myself. I told my family, say it was John and it was Jane. I said, don't let that reach no way from. They say, so we're willing to do what I say. I ain't willing to do nothing about it. But mind you, I lost because of that shooting. I lost the capital for my business because the Monday I stuck and then the Tuesday I stuck. And you're like, there's one to come up my bar fighting. I lost the capital for my business because I closed for more than a week after that happened in my business. After it happened, I closed for more than a week. And by the time I reopened my market store, I had to throw a box of apples. Box of apples. Box of pear. Box of tomatoes. And these things was not low costing. My business struggled for the entire ending up last year. Straight through it, struggle. I almost had to close down because you know why? The money just wasn't coming. I had like a mini mart. It was like a mini mart by my store. I didn't even have money to stock back the dry goods. And that actually rolled over into this year. And on top of that, the worst thing happened. I was doing my degree. And my degree, I was doing it at the School of Higher Education Limited. And I spent over $15,000 doing the first year, which is level 5 in the degree. And these two young men came and robbed my stall in May, just when I was supposed to sit and do my submissions. I failed my final course. And that was my straw. So I lost my capital from a business. And right after, I failed the final course after spending $15,000 in 6 months to do a course. And I had to fight and hold on. But people, nobody didn't understand what I was going through, because the money still never come back to me. I had to actually put the degree on pause, because where am I going to get the 7,000 needed to finish off the last 2 courses? You understand? I had to put it on. Imagine the final, I like putting the icing on a cake and somebody come and smash the cake. Just before, imagine you take your time and you bake this cake with only love, and then somebody come and hammer punch the cake. You didn't get to put the icing, and you could only wonder. I wonder how the cake would have looked if I get to put the icing on it. And that's how I feel at the moment. But you know how I dealing with that? I was able to rally some persons who assisted me in my business, you know. And bit by bit, I have been trying to do and make the little necessary changes to restore my business to the place that it really was, and to really take my education further. You understand? And I want to encourage you guys tonight, you know, don't give up on no young person. You see a young person trying, don't give up on them. Because all of us fighting battles that no one knows. And I know if I had taken to Facebook, I would have received the help I needed to receive to restore my business, because a lot of people love me there. But not because of pride, but because of the level of emotion, the emotional hurt that I was dealing with at that point in time. I wasn't able to pull myself together to do that. That is why I almost backslide, because the pressure was so much. Months upon months, I would just be sleeping and then wake up in the night and study. These two young men, look at what them cost. And then friends started coming around. My pastor started. So I don't have one pastor alone, I have about 5. Then they would start calling, hey, Josh, because we church have many pastors. Then they started calling, you're holding out good, don't study it. God will restore you. God will change the situation. God will do it for you, brother. God will do it for you. God will help you, you know. And that is what really, really happened for me. And that is how I was able to really catch back myself. So I am on a journey right now. And I am going to continue trusting the Lord to enlarge my territory. Is right. I am on a journey, and it's a non-stop journey. I am sharing my life with people. And I believe that in my youthful age, I have been through enough to be deserving to share it. Because it are people who can't take that what I take last year without doing what I wanted to do. There's some persons who would have really hunt down those two young men and put them as statistics on the news. But through my pastor, and it's not to say that I am actively involved in a gang, no. It's just that when people really see you trying as a young man, they just take a liking towards you. And when they take a liking towards you, what is yours is them own, and what is them own is yours. They will be willing to go out of the way to be of service to you. And one of the guys, I told him, I said, brother, I would never be the one responsible for your demise in life. And he said, what do you mean? I say, I know you want to help me because 2 young men robbed me, and I know you really want to avenge that situation for me. But I told him, I said, brother, I almost called it. I said, brother, it's a wait. I say, enjoy your freedom and let me enjoy my freedom. Because the God I serve will bring my enemies to the knees. I don't need to do it. God will do it. God will do it. And there is not just chatter, you know. But one thing I did make sure to send a message saying was, once is enough. Don't let it reoccur by the grace of God. Because you see, I was able to say, don't do it, and somebody didn't do it. But there are some things that some people will buy over your situation and avenge your fate. And this is where I was very cautious as to who I give the sensitive information as to what really happened and as to who really did. Because I know some little boy who have enough respect for me and who adore me so much and find that a young brother trying to like rob him, would I go and do something foolish? And I don't want to add to the crime and to the numbers and to the murders in my country. I want to bring that number down. So all this is just testings. And I cannot use this as encouragement if I wasn't strong enough to say no. Because trust me, it's very easy to say yes when you're emotionally hurt. It's very easy to say yes. It's very easy to say, okay, they cause me pain, an eye for eye and a tooth for a tooth. Let me go back for them. But it takes great discipline. And you really have to trust your pastor for him to be able to talk you out of something. And then you really sit down and say, boy, pastor, you know, you're right. And I believe that if we take what I say here tonight and we really work at it, we can achieve a better community, a better relationship with family members. So Miss Joan and Miss Akisha, Alexis, I just want to say thanks for the opportunity. You guys saw stuff here before social media even saw it, because some of these things I spoke on, because I shared it with you, I now feel a sense of courage to also share it with my platform also. So thanks for the opportunity, and you guys have a wonderful night. And if anyone has questions, feel free, now is the time. Anyone want to interact, now is the time. As I bring it to the end for this week, just go a little bit beyond the 10:30 just to facilitate interaction. That will be okay. Just like
yes, sometimes we do. Sometimes we do. Before the questions, I just want you to know that you have so much support in the chat. Akina is assuring you that God will restore what the enemies have stolen. Janet is saying, continue to trust. And she's reminding you of the prayer of Jabez. And Marie saying, brother, just you are an inspiration to us, and especially other young people. Chanel is saying, what the enemy intended for evil, God turn it around for good for you and others. And Marie saying, we appreciate you. Natik, your information was extremely informative. Cheryl is saying thanks. Teresa is saying, I thoroughly admire your honesty and openness. And you know, she said quite a bit there. And I want to encourage you as well. You have been through a lot. And when the enemy sees you moving forward, he tries to put something in your path so that you will backslide. I thank God for Kwame and the others who helped you through those difficult moments. I know there are questions. I know it's time to talk to Joshua. Joshua, thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Well, actually, good night. Joshua, I just sent some questions on the chat. So I'd just like to repeat what I wrote. I actually said here, Joshua, I thoroughly admire your honesty and openness. You have gone deep down and dirty to bring it home to us, the avid listeners. But tell us, what do you think can be done to deter young men who aspire to get rich or die trying? What government initiatives can be implemented to help these lost men And do you agree that mentorship programs for at-risk individuals are greatly needed now?
Let's see. Oh, bro, tell us, what do you think can be done to the young men? So what I think can be done to the two young men. Now, there's a very broad spectrum answer I'm about to give. I believe from home, parents need to like take the bull by the horn. And for the not this generation here, because the tell once a tree grown, it can't bend. It can't bend anymore. So I think we need to create a safe space for young men to really be open to vent. And this is one of the things that I see my church, there's the approach that my church has taken. So my pastor, Pastor Kwame, he gives me the opportunity to be brutally honest with him. And so has my pastors before him done. Because in our church, we tend to change pastors. You don't really have one pastor, right? So our church is always doing a shuffle. And I believe within the household, parents really need to, providing is good, building a house for your kids is good, but if they don't understand the value or the reason behind what you're doing, then your labor is in vain. You understand? It's like sending a child to school, right? You send him to school, he pay his school fee, he sit down in the class, he take all the notes that the teacher say, but then he don't do no homework at all, he don't revise, and when test time come, he doesn't excel. Then you ask yourself, but you come 15 test? You used to come first. Why he come 15 test is because no one was overseeing him and making sure that he does his homework and his extra studies. So for me, open communication and dialogue within the household could be seen as a form of extra studies. Now, parents need to study the kids. Parents need to study the kids just like you would study for exam, because you have to now remember that it's not just one parent made the child, but two parties. And you have to now remember, even if you are a single father or a single mother, you have to now tap back and try to recall what were the traits of this parent. And when you realize and you remember the traits of the parent, then you have to now look out for it within your son. So it's like a mother. So right now we country flood with single mothers, right? And if a single mother don't sit down and say, but wait now, when I was 16 years and me and this boy father meet, you know, he was just 17 and he was real violent. You know, he started hitting me while we were in teens. And then they don't sit and watch the pattern that your son now taking. He's 14 and he's aggressive. He talking to you rough. And you don't try to bend the tree from early. Then what he would be going through is his father's chromosomes, you understand? Or his father's DNA at that stage in life now beginning to affect him. Because you see, a child is made by two persons coming together. And at some point in time, you could see the father in a child, and at some point in time, you could see the mother action in a child. So at similar ages in life, they will begin acting out. So you as a parent need to be very observant and not be ignorant to the fact that you need to address these things that you are seeing now. Because if you realize at 13 years, as soon as he enters secondary school, he answers you in a different way, the similar way that his father started answering you, then you are about to be in trouble if you don't correct it. Because you might say, he's just a child. No, he's not a child. He is experiencing the DNA that his father has in him. And this is the time phrase for it, between 13 to 17 years is where he's developing these traits. And if you don't curb it, then you cannot curb it after 17. So that is one way, by becoming observant to the changing in tones of your children. the way that they move, you know for a fact that, okay, his dad, before you and his dad broke up, his dad had a way he used to go out and he would stay out whole night, and then 2 o'clock in the morning, he coming in. Exactly, generational curses. I just didn't want to say it. His dad used to come in 2 o'clock in the morning, and you realize you used to send your little 15, 16-year-old son outside, and by 11 o'clock, he used to come back in. But all of a sudden, he coming in 12:30. Hey, that is a red flag forming right there. You need to now put him to sit down and say, boy, you know, the family split up because of the same late come. Parents need to be realistic. Stop trying to paint yourself as the good person in the family. Especially in single families, always, I the mother, I the father, no. Change the approach. Be honest. Say, son, what you're doing, I experience it with your father. You know why? Because this. Now I, as the mother, I'm not perfect, and I become vulnerable. There, people, no one wants to become vulnerable. Everyone wants to hold that image. So therefore, you want to paint yourself as the good person, but you're not really doing a job because you're not being open with them. You're hiding part of yourself, you know, for a fact that you make mistakes also as the mother, and it causes the relationship to part. Give your son these truths. Give him these truths so that he now develops a greater respect for you, because somewhere along the line, he is going to hear these truths. Some auntie will pull him square and say, boy, it's not that your father was a bad person. This is what really happened. So if you as a parent are able to now give your son these real truths, now what you are doing is you're working on his masculinity. So now he is going to become more open to you. He is not going to be this macho young man walking around with his chest so hard and his heart hard. He is now going to become your friend. He is now going to seek your interest because he realized that, hey, my mother make a mistake and she tell me that mistake. He will now hold it. But when you try to hit him with this big stick and when he go by his cousin and his cousin telling him the truth, and then his auntie telling him the truth, but you alone keeping the truth from. Of course, after a certain 15, 16, you can't talk to him again, then he will start cussing you in your house and telling you. But I know the truth. You never tell me the truth. Days were really, and then now you're coming. The chance, son, take it from you. And everyone here on this platform must know a brilliant child from a slow learning child. You just know who is a child that is learning fast. You see the fast learners? Start conversating with them very early in life. Give them the truth about life early. Remember, no, I'm not coming here to say the government should put this, the government. No, I cannot give the government that responsibility, because you know why? What the government does is their profession. They are only doing what they were taught in a classroom, and no classroom teaches you how to attack crime. No classroom teaches you how to deal with these young people. No classroom, no matter what you study, you do a degree, and you end up a minister, you end up at this. Hey, that is the profession, that is a job. And everybody know, even you and I know, that when you go on your job, you're going there for the mighty $1. So half our government, the people in charge, whether it be Trinidad or Tobago, that is what they study for. That was their aim. Hey, I want to be a politician because I hear it get paid nice. So they after the mighty $1. So you cannot give them the task of making sure that your child is in a better place in the next 10 years. You have to do that. You have to try and coax your child and give your child the reality on the ground straight up. But I'm going to address the next part of the question also. But tell us what you think, Amy. So what could be done apart from the household? Apart from the household is the same thing that we are doing. Getting persons to share with them the truth. Getting persons to share with them their experiences. Give your child the opportunity Ask your child, involve. You see, and we can't deal with young people as a group. We have to single them out and work on them individually. Because the minute you start dealing with young people as a group, not everybody does learn in the same space and at the same time. So we need to single them out. Like you would need to take your son if you find he getting boisterous or he getting on manner. You would need to bring a police officer home. Talk to yours. See about yours. Now I see I see this thing happening a lot. We don't talk to we own, but we want to talk to the neighbor own. We own giving me trouble. We can't tell we own to lock the door at 11 o'clock, but you want to tell the neighbor child that what he doing is wrong. So many times we have this with everybody else parent except a parent for we own child. Yes, everybody, mother and father, you know who child doing right, you know who child doing wrong. But there's not a parent for your own child because you cannot talk to yours. And it's a very big issue in the country right now. Everybody wants to be the community leader and nobody can lead their own house. That is why in the Bible it says that if a man can't lead his own house, then how he can lead the people of God? So if you can't set your own house straight and you can't change your lock, if it is you want to come inside 12 o'clock and you make him sleep outside 2, 3 nights, then don't tell the neighbor child that he behaving a bad boy in school because he will watch you as a hypocrite. And when he watches as a hypocrite, he will get bigger and he will start disrespecting you. And then now he ain't gonna have no respect for you. He ain't gonna like you. He go throw talk for you, and then you will see small children cussing out with big adults. You so and so because you can't talk to your child, you want to talk to me. And this is the conversations that happening in communities. So you realize young people not growing up with no respect for nobody. It's because you're double-minded, you're confused, you're saying one thing, but you're doing the next thing. You do have your children under control, but you wanna, and you know, you see this a lot in girl children. You ain't see she daughter walking out with no bra, and she's only 16 years of age. But your daughter home on Instagram posting half-naked pictures, and you don't even know. You don't even know. Your daughter, you know your daughter her boyfriend, your daughter in the mall with her boy, you don't even know the boy age, but you're quick to talk about the young person who you're seeing. You're seeing she walking out with no branch nipples, and you're throwing, and now what they're doing, now all you're doing is fueling your little daughter. Look at my mother. So naive. She not even seeing the wrong I doing. So now your daughter join with you. Mommy, you see how she dressing? And you know what she start doing? Your own child start blinding you to the foolishness that they themselves doing. So I believe we have a problem in the household. It's not a country and a nationwide problem we have. It's a household problem. Everybody had a remedy to rule John house, but nobody had a remedy to rule their own house. I think we need to come back home with the recipe and the formula to ruling we own house before we start to go there and try to impact and affect people's life. So like for me, I was able to rule my own home last year. When I say jump high, jump low, I ain't picking up a gun by the grace of God. I ain't picking up a phone. I ain't calling no shot on nobody child. God will do the thing when he needs to do it. As for me, when I did that, I waited the period that my Lord told me to wait. And then I said, Lord, I'm in the right standings. I can make videos and encourage somebody. Because if I did press a button to get those 2 youth men killed, then I could have never be testifying on Facebook. So we always have to be, and now you don't have to be perfect, you know. You just have to be realistic and real with yourself and deal with it with yourself. So let me just see if I answer the question in its entirety. The last part was so that is, and what government initiatives can be implemented. So one of the government initiatives that I went to a meeting with the Ministry of Youth Development last night, right? They reached out to me and they said that they want to meet a little bit and discuss a few stuff. So now I am no way in partnership with them as yet, but I see myself partnering with them in the future. They have not reached out to me in any form or fashion, even though people are making requests. And I know there's people making requests, but again, it's how best we could get all the glory off of him once he start partnering with us. But don't worry, I have my own platform, and God will get his glory off of my platform. And it's not like somebody trying to make me somebody. God has already established me. God has already established my following. So I'm not chasing the fame. When they're ready to speak to Joshua Hercules, they would come. So last night they said that they want to come to San Fernando. They're doing this program, this caravan. So the government did implement a couple of these these training courses that could change the life of a young man. Now, however, no sensitization was done. So you implement a program, you put it on your page, you boost the post, and you think, okay, my work done. However, I would say that there are many programs already on the ground and already in place. But what we need to do is an awareness campaign. It's just like church. You could say, the biggest preacher in the world come into my church, but if you don't go into the communities and do proper mobilization, no one will show up in your service. Agreed? You could say Pastor Benny Hinn or my father, Bishop Dag, come in. You will get some people to come in. But people will say, I don't understand. They're bringing a man. But if you now go to them and explain that this is the importance of coming this service, you can receive a miracle, your life could change this. So I think the government have things in place, but what the government failed to deliver on is how to actively and practically explain to young persons the opportunities that is before them. They don't know how to sell the opportunity. They have a good idea, but they don't know how to sell the idea to interest young people. So like I told one of the guys last night, like I told the meeting, I said, what we are doing, you all are doing just for formality's sake. Okay, I had this position, I do some programs, I send it out. So my portfolio done. I do it, so now it's for the youth to come and sign. No, it don't work. So you need to get your butt off your chair and reach into the communities and do proper explanations as to this is what we need, this is it, this, and then you will now see whether they have an interest or they don't have an interest. As for now, making a flyer, posting it, like Auntie Joan. If Auntie Joan just decide, okay, Joshua Hercules coming on tonight, but Auntie Joan don't send it to individuals in the WhatsApp chats, then no one would come on. But if it is Auntie Joan say, you know, we have Joshua Hercules, and individually, and I knew Auntie Joan was sending this out. Auntie Joan was messaging persons that this is the link, these are where coming. Now the government needs to try to have a system in place where they could do that. They need to be able to systematically put things in place where they actually do a census. How many ever remember census long time? Well, remember census where the government used to hire people and had them working. Now we don't see that. Now everybody relying on social media. But we need to mix the two together. We need to go back to doing census where people could walk to different communities, raising awareness and actually explaining to young persons that on this day, we have a caravan coming south and you can look out for it next month. And then you would see youths eagerly anticipating that on the 20th of May, they in San Fernando, we go in because they now understand the opportunity they have. Wherever people don't understand opportunity, the opportunity is taken for granted. So any other questions before?
The floor is open.
The last part I see Mr. Risa asks, do you agree that mentorship programs for at-risk youth? Yes, it's greatly needed, but the only so we could have an impact is if we go back to doing census. No government in the past 10 years or 15 years, let me say 15, from 2010 to now, no one has successfully done a census aimed at understanding the dynamics of young people in the country. No one has done it. No one has done a census saying that I want to find out what is the statistics and what is the kickback causing the young persons to not flock into coming into our institutions that are offering free tuition. I want to know what is the issue. And now we stay from the ministry and you send out persons different. Or it's like all of this campaign when it's election, you need to do a rigid campaign. You need to do a systematic campaign. Like in my church, we just do systematic campaigns. In my church, everything is done for a particular reason in order to obtain a particular result. And when we get the result, it's not by hit, it's not by miss. It's actually a system of this, bam, we get the result we're looking for. So the government of the day need to go back to doing censuses. They need to come off wherever they are sitting and go into groups and go into the communities and take down the name of these young persons and ask them what is the challenges. And then now we would be able to pull these names and these different challenges together and come with one or two solutions that would be feasible to at least 75% of the group, because we know that not everyone would be affected. You know, you can't save everyone, but out of 100% participants, at least if we're able to impact 75% of them, we could change the landscape of our country. But right now, the government barely even hitting 40% of we country. The barely. So therefore, crime increasing. So it's like a scale unbalanced, because crime going on increase. And then we see now decreasing interest in young persons actually coming to the forefront or find themselves to serve. But now if it is we at least, we set a clear budget, okay, for the next 2 years, $5 million is allocated to doing a clear census as to the challenges that young persons between the age of 16 to 35 is facing and why they are not coming forward. Now, after that 2 years, we could pull our list together and start attacking it in a more better program, because we now have database. Our country is run on database. And for the longest while, we have not been taking a database in this country.
Okay, Joshua Walters is saying that the program coordinators need to come down to the level of the youth. The youth need hope and encouragement. And Kelvin is saying it might be late for some of those who are over 17. So what approaches might be late for some parents to impact those who are over 17? So what approaches can they use at this late stage?
So if it might be late for some parents, example, children are over 18, but I don't understand like the approach in like to get them out of a life of crime or to get them into these educational training facilities. If we could just clear up that for me, then I could answer the question a bit better.
Kelvin.
To get on the right path. So to get on the right path, right? A parent who has a child over the age of 17 and the child no longer wants to obey the parent. Now that parent have to do like how the father of the prodigal son did. You have to now, you see, you have to now count your losses physically and start attacking the spiritual. You have to now go in, you have to kneel down before God and talk to God. Because you see, I want to share a story with you. Right? Everyone knows the story of the prodigal son. And the prodigal son said, Father, give me all my spoils. I need my inheritance now because I need to live. And he went and he spent it. Now, in that time, the Bible never gave an account. But we all know for someone to return unto the Father is not just by the own accord. We all know it's through prayer and supplication. And that is what I believe the Father did. Now, the Father understood that the Son would have had to return unto him. But I believe the willingness of the Father to let go the Son and to trust God that the Son will return home. Why I think the Father celebrate when the Son comes back? Remember the Father say, hey, stop all work, stop every single thing for my son come back home. Now, the Father was always waiting for that son to, the Father know the Son would have come back. But the Father also had his faith in God, knowing that God would have bring his Son to the light and to the revelation as to the time that he needed to spend out there to get that level of experience. Experience is very important for some people. Imagine you're going through all the way going through, because in the first few years of the prodigal son's life, he would have been living a filled life, money, girls, prostitution, this, all these things. He would have been enjoying the spoils of the land. But all that time, Dad would have been praying and the family would have been praying. You see, it's not every family you will leave and people will just turn their back on you. Especially in these biblical families. Sometimes they had the proper family structure. As we today don't have a proper family structure. They had family structures where they would involve and engage themselves in prayer. So I am sure that they would have been praying for him all along. And now the prayers would have been working in his favor, unknown to him, to bring him to his knees, to the point of humility for him to return home. So what I am saying is sometimes parents just need to let go and let God. Let go and let God. Now it's time for God to do his thing. You did your part, you try with your son, you try with your daughter, no problem. It do have a next option again. Now you need to let go and let God do what he needs to do. And
Yes.
when God works, he works.
Yes, yes. Yes, Joshua. You gave us your story. You told us about your challenges. You told us about your mother and her struggles. You told us about your friends and the loss of your friends to the hands of others, at the hands of others. You told us about the pains you felt, and you told us what God has done for you. You told us about the enemy and how we tried to pull you back, and about the ones who came to your rescue at that point in time. Joshua, I thank God for your life. I thank God for your testimony. I thank God for being vulnerable with us this evening, for sharing your stories, even stories that you have never shared with anyone. Keep on keeping on, Joshua. And I'm sure that what you shared here would have benefited parents, because you gave advice to parents as well. And you let us know how important it is for us to communicate. You let us know it's not just about providing material things, but providing a safe space so that our children can converse with us. You shared so much in this short space of time, and we're thankful. You have reminded us that Jesus is the friend of a wounded heart. You have reminded us that we should cast our cares on him. You have reminded us that vengeance is his and he will repay. You have let us know that healing is possible. You have let us know that it's possible to turn around before it is too late. You have let us parents know that we need to pray for our children. We need to get down on our knees and we need to trust the Heavenly Father to take care of things. It is almost 11 p.m. So we've been talking for almost 2 hours. And the richness of your stories will overflow. And persons beyond this Zoom session tonight will be blessed. I'm sure about that. We pray God's blessings on you as he restores your goods, as he restores you to your former level of prosperity. We pray that he blesses your farm. We pray that he gives you the money that you need to complete your exams. We pray for his blessing upon your family and upon your ministry. Thank you for sharing with us this evening. And as we close, you know, we've lost about 20 persons because of the hour. We had 76, the largest number that we've ever had in 21 weeks. And it is because of Joshua and the topic that he gave us. Reach them before we lose them. Your message resonated with us, and we say thank you. Before we end this evening, we will say a word of prayer. And I'm calling, is Anne still around? Yes, persons are saying, thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, participants, for joining us this evening and for listening and sharing. And the chat was very, very active. And we love this. Now, our link is the same every week. We are on every Wednesday at 9 p.m. It is the same login information, and we encourage you to share. We have been helping persons. Last week, we had persons recapping and saying what the program has done for them so far. And we realized that we cannot stop. We need to keep going because God is causing this program to reach people and to provide solutions for the hurts that persons are feeling. So remember that we are here every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Friend of a Wounded Heart. And next week, our program is entitled, I Didn't Have a Baby. And we're going to be hearing from someone who experienced problems, the problem of infertility. And we're going to hear, we're going to learn, we're going to discuss the issues that she encountered as a result of that, even a failed marriage. Before we end this evening, let's have a word of prayer. And I ask Marquise to say that prayer as we end this evening's program.
Dear Father, thank you for bringing us to the end of this meeting, dear Lord. Help us to learn something from it, dear Lord. Thank you for everything that you continue to do for us and that you still do for us, dear Lord. Help us to take in this word of encouragement and add it to our daily lives. Protect us from any evil and any harmful spirit or anything that is upon us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Marquis, one of the young persons who came on this evening. Thank you, young people. Remember, when we are gone, the older ones are gone, you have to be in charge. Stay up, young people. Keep your heads up and do what is right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Yes. Joshua,
Good night, everyone.
tell your family
night, good
thanks for
night.
sharing you with us
Joshua.
this evening. And we
No
will be
problem.
talking.
You're all welcome.
We will be talking, Joshua. God bless you.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Good night, good night.
Bless you, Joshua, and the family.